So what federalism actually stands for, all right. So देखो federalism होता क्या है. So federalism basically is a system of government wherein the powers are shared. So before understanding federalism, let us talk about what kind of systems do exist at the global level. Okay, so there are two kinds of systems at the global level that actually exist. So those system are, number one, the system is a unitary system. Okay, so the first system is unitary system and another system is federal system. Okay, so these are the two systems that exist at the global level in various countries. So the meaning of the, just give me a second, I'll have to explain you actually on board. So let me just ask the people. Just give me a second. Let me just ask them. Okay, leave it. See, there are two types of systems at the global level. That is, one is unitary system, another one is federal system. What is the meaning of unitary system? So, unitary system is basically a form of government wherein the power is mainly united. The power is just in the hands of the union government. All right. So there, the provinces or the states are basically made. हाँ, कार्तिक आकर के एक बार जल्दी वो टीचिंग बोर्ड ओपन कर दे यार इसमें. हाँ. So what happens in the unitary system of government, the power is actually concentrated in the hands of just the union government. Okay, the states, for example, in China are created but just for convenience purpose. They are basically not created for giving them power. The actual division of power doesn't exist there. Only the states are there for sake of convenience, administrative convenience. But another form of government, that is the federal form of government or the federal system of government. In the federal system of government, the power is actually divided. The power is divided between the center and the states. Okay, the power is constitutionally divided. And basically, this division of power is the real essence of a federal system of government. And we can also say that federalism cannot exist without the actual division of power. Okay, so federalism, that is basically what we are going to study here. So the definition of federalism can be a system of government wherein the powers are divided between the center and its constituent units. Okay, because we are not calling them states, because in India only we call the provinces as states, but in other countries those are basically called as provinces or some other names are also given to it. So that's why in India only we call it a state. So that means ki federal system of government. So federalism is a system of government wherein the power is basically divided between, one is the union government, which we often refer to as center, and other is the other constituent units, all right, which we in India often refer to as states or provinces. All right. So there are two types of federalism majorly. So we will be studying about the characteristics of federalism also, but majorly talking about the federal system. So there are majorly two types of federal system that exist in the world. Those two types of federal system are, number one is coming together federalism and another one is holding together federalism. Okay, let us understand the difference between these two types of federalism. So I just told you first type of federalism is coming together federalism. Another type of federalism is holding together federalism. What is the main difference between this? So basically, coming together federalism stands for example, USA. What is the main feature of this coming together federalism? Here what happens, like before the creation of United States of America, what happened? There used to exist multiple small units. Okay, there used to exist multiple small units. Let's say in case of America, before the American Revolution or before the formation of the United States of America, what used to happen, what used to exist is basically there used to exist multiple small units. Okay, they all basically came together and formed a union of these states. Okay, so that basically created a, for example, United States of America, let's say. Okay, so in the coming together federalism, multiple small units comes together and then creates a particular union. All right. In case of holding together federalism, what exists is, in case of holding together federalism, the power is, let's say in India, was not basically transferred to the states, it was transferred to the Union of India or the Union Government of India, that is the central government. Then the central government basically created several states or basically divided the power between several states. Okay. So first in holding together federalism, just like the hand is holding different states, so like that only earlier the power transferred from the one authority to the state, to the center. That means the center was created first, center came first, then for its convenience it then divided the power among different states. So that is basically called as holding together federalism. All right, so holding together federalism, the classic example is India. All right, now let us get a very short or a brief introduction of the federal nature of India. So the federal nature of India is that in article, yes, yeah.
Sir, in that you explained coming together federalism, in that the codes are different or only one code is there?
Codes are different. मतलब for what are you asking? What is the main question?
Means
कोड तो अलग
like India, we have a district court, high court, and supreme court in one manner. Joined, they are linked. But in coming together, federalism could will be one or they will be
yeah.
different per state.
There in coming together federalism, let's say there will be a federal code and then there will be provincial codes. This has separate set of subjects to deal with and these have separate subjects to deal with. Appeals from provincial court will not go to federal court. They have a separate set of jurisdiction and they have a very separate set of jurisdiction. This thing. happens in coming together federalism. All right. So now
Okay.
talking about India. So talking about India, in India, Article 1 of Indian Constitution, what does it say? It says that India, that is Bharat, India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. That is what is written in Article 1 of Indian Constitution. So it majorly tells about the name of India. So India, that is Bharat, official name of India, shall be union of states. That means what is the nature of Indian state? It is union of states. But B.R. Ambedkar, standing in the Constituent Assembly, clarified this thing, that India is not a truly federal country. In India, what happens is, it is not like in India the units that has created, it is not like the units have came together and created the union. It is basically the union came first and then it created the state. And in case of India, any of the single unit does not have the right to secede from the union of India. All right. So that is why India is not at all a unitary form of system, and neither a true federal country. Okay. In India, basically the states can anytime be created by the center, by the parliament, without the will of that particular state, and even any state can be destroyed by the union and can be reorganized by the union. So that means in case of India, the the states are destructible, but the union is not destructible. Okay, but in case of America, the union is also not destructible, but the states are also not destructible. Okay, because the states came together and formed that particular union. So that is why we can here say that India is not at all a unitary system of government, but also not a true federal country. India is quasi-federal in nature. Okay, because in India there doesn't lies a very clear cut watertight division of power between the center and the state. In India, the power is definitely divided between the union and the state, but at any point of time, by using Article 352, 356, and 360 of the Indian Constitution, by basically proclaiming emergency in our country, anytime the center can suspend the government of the state, can suspend the elected government of the state, and can take all the powers of the state within its own hand. Okay, so that is why India is having a nature of quasi-federalism. Okay, so India is quasi-federal in nature and not a purely federal country. So this was just a overview of what meaning of federalism, what is the meaning of unitary system of government, wherein unitary system is a government wherein the power is concentrated fully in the hand of the central government. Okay, and the states or provinces are just created for namesake purpose, for administrative convenience, but ultimately the revenue and all the major power remains in the hands of center. But while talking about the federal country, so in federal there are clear cut lists where subjects are mentioned. Okay, the center is having a separate set of lists. Okay, and the states are also having separate set of lists. For example, in India there is 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution wherein 3 lists are mentioned: union list, state list, concurrent list. In the matters that are mentioned in union list, only parliament can make law. In the matters that is mentioned in the state list, only state legislature can make law. And in the matter that is written in concurrent list, both center as well as state can make laws. Okay, so that symbolizes the division of power between the center and the state. But in one word, I will just ask you what is the meaning of federalism, you must clearly state that federalism stands for division of power. Federalism means division of power. All right. So now coming on to the main point. So now let's get back to the PDF. See here. Yeah. So federalism. What is the meaning of federalism? So basically, the federalism stands for system of government in which the power is divided between the national government, and the state or the provincial government. Okay. So that means, in one word, if I will just ask you what is federalism, it is simply division of power. Federalism means division of power. All right. So both level works over the same citizens. So for example, let's say this 140 crore population of the entire country, the national government or the union government will make laws for all of these, and the state governments will also make the laws for these. It is not like ki some citizens, for them only national government is there and for some only state government is there. No, those same set of citizens are basically governed by both the governments, okay, central government as well as state governments. All right. So federal versus unitary government. So there are two systems of government. I just told you. One is the federal government and one other one is the unitary form of government. In the unitary system, all the power rests in the central government and lower units are subordinate to it. Lower units are created but just for namesake purpose. They are not given with the actual powers. Okay. So actual powers are not there in the hands of the subordinate governments. Okay. So, in a federal system, the state government is not subordinate to the center, and their powers are protected by the constitution. So, in case of federal government, the states are having so many powers, and the powers of the states cannot be overtaken by the center in case of federal government. All right. So now talking about case of Indian government. So India is called, as per Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, I just told you, India is called as the Union of States. What is the nature of India? It's the Union of State. But in practice, if we talk about, in practice, we follows a federal system with a strong center. We have federal system because the powers are divided between the center and the state, but still more or less we have a very strong center. The central government in India is very strong. All right. So talking about the global picture of federalism, so while talking about global picture, so only about 25 countries follows the federal system. Okay, so covering nearly 40% of the world's population. Examples are like India, United States of America, Canada, Australia, Germany, Switzerland. These are the countries that follows the federal system of government. All right. So now this case of Belgium and Sri Lanka we will be discussing in the chapter power sharing. But let us before that understand the key features of federalism. So the main and the foremost and the first important feature of federalism is this, that is there shall be two or basically more levels of government. What is the major feature of it? There shall be two or more levels of government. All right, so that's the first feature of federalism. Another feature of federalism is that same citizens governed by different levels. So I just told you now, so let's say there are 140 crores of the people in this entire country. So the central government is basically makes laws for these all people, and state governments combined together, okay, taking all the state governments together, they also make laws for the same set of citizens. It is not like the people are divided that some will be ruled by the national government, some by the state government. No, same set of government rules the same set of citizens. Now in these subjects are basically different. So the seventh schedule of the Indian Constitution divides it, okay, divides these powers. So clear division of power is there. Okay, now with regards to making of laws, taxation matters and the matters of administration, the powers are clearly divided. Okay, clear division of power is there. All right, now talking about the powers, so these powers or basically this division of power and the power whatsoever will be there with the center, with the state, this is mentioned in the constitution itself. Okay, if this division of power was not provided by the constitution, then there can be multiple conflicts in the daily administration. Okay, so to avoid those conflicts in the administration of the country, those division of power is specifically mentioned in the constitution itself. It is provided by the constitution itself. All right. So next is independent judiciary is there. Now constitution cannot be changed unilaterally. Yes. So basically, like in case of India, Article 368 is there to amend the constitution. Now 368 says that all the matters can be amended by the parliament only. Okay. Now unilaterally by the parliament without consulting the states, but the matters that basically are related, those articles that are related to federal distribution of power, for those articles or for those provisions, the parliament cannot alone amend the constitution. Before amending that provision related to the distribution of power, parliament will have to refer that provision to the state legislatures also. And when 50% of the state legislature approves that, ratifies that, then only that provision related to the distribution of power in the constitution can be amended. All right. Next, independent judiciary. Now, if any sort of dispute arises related to the division of power, okay, any sort of dispute is there that is concerned with the division of power, that dispute will be settled by an independent judiciary. So, a prelims question was also asked. In that question, the question was that what is the essential ingredient of federalism? So it was that a independent judiciary is also regarded as a very essential feature of true federalism, without which a true federal country cannot exist. All right. So now coming on to the next point, the separate sources of revenue. तो देखो ना, क्या एक कहावत तो है, देयर इज अ सेइंग इन हिंदी, ना बाप बड़ा ना भैया, सबसे बड़ा रुपया. So that means no one is supreme. The only thing that is supreme is the money. Okay. And basically money is there that only allows all the level of the government to basically administer the citizens, and the sources of revenue from where the revenue will come to the center and the states. So that sources of revenue is in itself mentioned in the constitution. So constitution itself provides for the sources of revenue. All right. So now talking about the objective of federalism. So what is the main objective of federalism? Why federalism is basically implemented in any country? Now the first thing is, by dividing power, by dividing power, what we do, we maintain national unity. So what is the first purpose of federalism? What is the first purpose of dividing the power? That is to maintain the national unity. Now my question to all of you is that how can unity be ensured? By dividing power. Because by dividing power we give more power to the states. They may sometime ask for basically moving away. They may sometime lead to secessionist movements. Okay, then how by giving them power, how by dividing power we are strengthening the unity? Now tell me. That's a question for all of you, and I want answer from all of you. Just tell me.
Sir, because by giving the power to the states, it ensures that the people living in state does not have to knock the center for every problem.
Okay, one point. Others also please do respond. Praversha, Subhashri. Please do respond. Say something. At least, even if you are saying just a single word, then also it's good. But speak, speak. Unmute yourself and speak. बोलो जल्दी बोलो. You're not responding. It's not good. Prasha, Subshri, not going to answer. देखो चलो okay, let me only, she unmuted, but then when I started speaking she muted herself. So see, it's just a class, okay? You have to speak. By just speaking what you are basically learning, so by just speaking your confidence is built, gives you confidence, and confidence is the key to clear this exam, okay? It's very much required. All right, so now coming on to this, by basically what happens is that by dividing power, so let's say here in class I am the center and you all are the states, okay? Now let's suppose here what I do is, now I basically don't allow you to speak, I don't allow you to utter even a single word. I don't allow you to basically ask me the question. I only ask the question to you and you just have to reply to that. Nothing else. No doubt entertaining and no other discussion allowed. Now, what will be, what, no, you just tell me, what will be the impact of that on you? You will not feel attached to me, you will not feel like being a member of this class, okay? So that
Sir,
will, huh?
sir, even the students will strike against the teacher.
Yeah, that they will do, yes, obviously. So they will not feel attached to me, they will not feel as if they are the member of this class, so that will negatively impact the unity of this class. So the same way, if the center doesn't allow the state to be, to basically, so that the states can express their grievances, the state can take their own decision, so in that case the state will not feel as a part of that country, so that will not result into unity, but in turn will basically result into disunity in the country. All right, so that will be negative, okay? So now here, by dividing power, so what is the main object, what is the first object of dividing power? It is to maintain the national unity. So the unity of this country will be strengthened by giving powers to the states. All right, now another thing is, many states in India have diversity. They are not like the, basically they are very distinct, they are having separate identities. So by giving them power to make their own decisions, okay, to take the decisions by themselves, what we are doing, we are in turn recognizing their diversity. We are recognizing that yes, you are basically distinct from us, you have diversity, and that's why this diversity needs to be respected, okay? So that's the thing what we do by dividing power between the center and the state. All right, so now coming on to the next point, that is the types of federalism. Okay, I can guarantee you this thing, that by these things are only mentioned in NCERT. No other source that is used by UPSC students in this entire industry mention these beautiful points. So only NCERT provide these beautiful points, and I can assure you that by using these particular points in your mains examination, because these NCRT stands to be very carefully and very consciously crafted documents. NCRTs plays a vital role in the preparation of the students, and NCRT basically accelerates your preparation and makes your answers very distinct from the others' answers. See, in mains, what happens? Those 12 to 14,000 students who are writing the answers, because they have cleared the prelims examination, so they know the content is there in their mind, okay? But what makes those students who appear for interview or becomes the officer, what makes their answer different from their others answer, is just these points only. Whosoever will integrate such beautiful points, such beautiful lines as mentioned in the NCRT, their answer will only rock in the mains examination. all right, they will only be benefited in the mains examination. So that's why I always ask that these points or the content that is given by the NCERT must be thoroughly learned or must be integrated in your studies, all right. So now coming on to this, so type of federation. So what is the meaning of type of federation? So there are basically two types of federal systems. There are two types of federations. So the first type of federation is called as the coming together federation. Another one is holding together federation. What is the difference between this? In coming together federation, as I told you, there are multiple independent states. Those multiple independent state joins together, they comes together and forms a larger federation. Okay, so all those small federal units, they comes together and join, all those small units, they comes together and forms a larger federation. Okay, so that is the main differentiating feature of coming together federation. So the examples are United States of America, Switzerland and Australia. The states are strong and usually equal. So all those yes, yes.
So the citizen living in USA will be set from a particular state or USA.
Yes, there is a concept of dual citizenship in USA. In USA, a person is a citizen of the country as well as a citizen of a particular province also. So there is a notion of dual citizenship in case of USA. But in case of India, to maintain the national identity and unity, we have given a concept of single citizenship. Wherever you stay, wherever you live, wherever you go, but still you are just a citizen of India and not a citizen of Delhi, UP, Mumbai, Pune, or any other place or state or city. Okay, so you are just a citizen of India. All right. So
Sir,
now
but
coming
if
on.
the if the same citizen commits a crime, so the constitution of the state will be implied on him, or the constitution of the country will be
You are talking about coming together or holding together.
coming together.
See what happens if a person commits a crime, for example, in Washington DC. So there is what will happen to that person is that that person will be tried by the provincial court. Now, if that person has committed an offense, and offense means violation of law, and that person has, if violated a state's law, he will be tried by the provincial court. But if the person has violated a federal law, that is the parliament's law, then that person will be tried by the federal court. That is the kind of a Supreme Court of US. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah. So now coming on to next. So holding together federalism. So in holding together federalism, a large country first comes. Okay, a large country first comes, and then a large country divides the power between the center and states. So the center then creates the states. The states are created by the center. Okay, so central government is relatively stronger, like India, Spain, and Belgium, because the central government of India first came into existence, and then the central government has basically divided power between center and the states. Okay, although the constitution has divided, but the constitution was the written by a constituent assembly representing the center, because at that time there was no as such हम कहेंगे states जो आज हैं, they were not in existence at that time. Okay, coming on to the next point, in essence what happens is, in essence federalism is a careful balancing act between the unity at the center and diversity at the edges. Okay, So at the center, we want whole country's unity. But at those edges, at those diverse places, we want to maintain this unity also, maintain this regional diversity also. So at one point of time, this coming together federalism, and on another end, this holding together federalism, coming together federalism is often called as melting pot, melting pot, and holding together federalism is called as salad bowl. It is called as salad bowl. On one hand, melting pot as in what does this means? This means that basically there is one unified culture. Okay, there is one unified culture of that country. Whosoever basically comes inside that country gets submerged into that. But in holding together, like a salad bowl, like on the salad bowl, there are different uh, vegetables or fruits that are or salad items are kept, and we can enjoy the distinct taste of every particular piece, maintaining its own taste and the fragrance. Okay, now this is similar to India. In India, at center we have the central government, but still by federalism we have given powers to the regions and to the states. States can often enjoy their distinctive taste. Okay, states can maintain their distinctive taste, that means their regional diversity, and at the center we can also ensure the unity of the country. All right, so this is basically the essence. Now what makes India federal? Okay, how India is federal? Okay, that's a very important question. So the question is how India is federal. So India is a vast country. Here in India, there are multiple languages, multiple regions, many cultures, many regions, okay, and religions. And basically, to manage this diversity, the constitution follows the principle of federalism. The constitution divides the power and gives power to the several provinces. So that is in turn basically a principle of federalism to maintain the regional diversity. Though the word federalism is not used in the Indian constitution, instead what is used in Indian constitution is the phrase union of states. Okay, so union of state, which is federal in nature. All right. So, what is the constitutional basis? So, after independence and partition, what happened? Many princely states integrated in the Union of India. All right. The Constitution of India created a system where the power is shared between different levels of government. The Constitution of India created center and also the states, wherein the power was divided between the center and the state. And this sharing of power is a basic feature of the Indian constitution. All right. So in India, originally there were two levels or tiers of government. Tier is also called as level. Okay, so there originally India had two levels of government. One is union, another one is state. So later on, a third level of government is also added to Indian basically system of government. That is by 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so by this, the third level of government, that is at the village level, the panchayats, and at the city level, the municipalities, urban level municipalities, and rural level panchayat is basically created. All right, each level has separate powers. Okay, every level has separate power and separate set of responsibilities. All right, so another thing is division of power. In India, the power is divided between the center and the states. So how is that power divided between the center and the states? So there, in the seventh schedule of the Indian constitution, three lists are given. The first list is basically the union list, second is the state list, third is the concurrent list. In the union list, the matters that are related to the national importance, for example, the defense of India, for example, the currency, communication, banking, insurance. So those things which are related to the national importance and the things that requires uniformity in the country, that requires a single uniform law to be made in the country. So those subjects are basically mentioned in the union list, wherein the law can be made by only parliament with regards to the matters mentioned in the union list. While talking about the state list, because let's say the geography, the climate, and several other things are very different in case of the entire country. Let's say the soil. So soil, for example, of Rajasthan is very different from the soil of Arunachal Pradesh. Soil of Jammu and Kashmir is very different from the soil of, I would say, आपका South India. So that is the main reason why we can say that the because for example the agricultural soil is very different, so agriculture cannot be placed into union list, because the parliament if will make a law on agriculture, how will it ensure that there is diversity with regards to soil? So that's why the subjects like agriculture, now let's say police also. Now for let's say police, the Delhi police cannot work in Uttarakhand, because Delhi police is very much competent enough just to work on plain areas. How will they be able to manage the people there living in the hilly areas? The same way Uttarakhand police cannot work in Delhi, because they are mainly acquainted with and trained as per the hilly terrains. But in case of Delhi, the area is plain and the population is very different from the population of Uttarakhand. So that means the subjects like police, the subject like law and order, the subjects like agriculture, these are placed in state list. And the matters that are placed under state list, only the state legislature can make laws with regards to the matters placed under state list. And some matters requires uniformity also, and also diversity. So for those matters, for example the marriage, adoption, and every other like matter, so it is mentioned in the concurrent list. Now the matters that are mentioned in the concurrent list, both the parliament as well as the state legislature can make laws with regards to the matters mentioned in concurrent list, sorry. And now if there is something that is not mentioned in the central list, in the union list or the state list, so those matters are referred to as residuary power. Now the residuary power before India's independence was in the hand of governor, but now after independence and basically the enactment of the constitution of India, the power, residuary power, is in the hands of parliament. So in case something is there that is not at all mentioned in any of the list that is given in 7th schedule, those powers are in the hands of parliament. The parliament will make laws on those matters. In the case of concurrent list, if any doubt is there, so for example on a same subject of concurrent list, parliament has also made a law and state legislature has also made a law. In that case, whose law will prevail? So that is the parliamentary law that will prevail in that case. All right. Now moving ahead, so we just talked about these three subjects. All right. So residuary power. Okay. So now we were on the topic that how federalism is practiced in India. Now talking about unequal powers of the states. So let's say in India, because we have just studied about the features in the topic of features of federalism, we have talked that in our country, every state is not the same. Okay, you know this very well. Every state is not same. Some states are smaller, some are larger states, some is having less population, some is having more diversity and less population, some is having more diversity with more population, and some is having less diversity with more population. Multiple thing happens here. So every state is not given equal power. In case of India, every state is not having equal power. Even the representation of every state, so state to the Rajya Sabha, is also varied, okay, according to their population. Talking about it, so now further moving on this topic, we can say that, for example, there is Article 370 and Article 371 in the Indian Constitution. Now with relates to the matters mentioned in Article 370 and 371 of the Indian Constitution, we can say that some states are given a special status as compared to other states. For example, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. So such are majorly northeastern states. Even some regions in Maharashtra and Gujarat, for example, Vidarbha region, Saurashtra region, due to their underdevelopment, they are given some special status. Okay, those regions are also accorded with some special status. So we can say that in India, every state is not equal. That means it is not a true federal nature. In India, the states are having different status. And on the other hand, so I told you, like this is, for example, the mean level, okay, wherein every state is equal. Some states are more than something equal, and even some places are less than even the normal power given to state, for example, the union territories. So some are the places, due to their historical reason, due to their geographical reason, or due to their strategic and national importance reason, some places are not even given the status of states. Those are placed directly under the control of center. Okay, for example, let's say Delhi. Delhi is a union territory with legislature, but the matters related to land, public order, okay, so such matters, even police, so such matters are not in the hand of the state legislature. Those matters are in the hands of center. Center basically make laws and administer those areas. Okay, so they are even given less status somewhat as compared to the other states. So in India, some states are given special status, some are even given lesser status than a normal state. All right. So I just told you, as some state enjoys some special status and other states enjoys even less status than the other states. All right. So coming on to the next point. So yeah, so some states enjoy special status under Article 371 of the Indian Constitution. All right. So moving here, some special, now union territories. So some are the regions called as union territories and even given lesser status as compared to the other states. All right. Yeah. Like Chandigarh, Lakshadweep, okay, Delhi. So these are not at all given the complete status of a state. Okay. Now, talking about the constitution. So our constitution is although flexible but also rigid. So what is the meaning of a rigid constitution? So rigid constitution means it is very difficult to amend that constitution, to change the provisions of such constitution. Our constitution is flexible also, because some provisions of the constitution, for example, the power that is given to the parliament under Article 11 of the Indian Constitution, according to which by just passing a ordinary bill, the parliament can change the area or basically the name or anything of a state. So that means some provisions of the constitution can be amended by just passing a ordinary bill which requires 50% plus one majority. But on the other hand, if you need to amend the power sharing provisions of the Indian Constitution, so those provisions requires 2 by third of the majority of parliament, okay, both houses of parliament. So 2 by third of the majority of both houses in parliament and also approval of at least 50% of the state legislature. Let's say 20 state legislatures are in total there. So out of those 20 state legislature, 50%, that means at least 10 state legislature, when will ratify this particular law, then only we can say that the federal provision of the constitution will be amended. All right. Now, what is the role of judiciary in case of India? So, the Supreme Court of India and the High Courts, they act as guardians of the constitution. So, who are the guardians of the Indian constitution? So, the Supreme Court of India and the High Courts are the guardians of Indian constitution. What they do is they basically settles the disputes between the center and the states. So whatsoever any kind of dispute if there be between the Union of India and the states, so those disputes are referred to it to the Supreme Court. Okay, and Supreme Court basically acts as the apex court that basically what it do, it basically settles the dispute between the union and the state. All right. So now moving ahead, how is federalism practiced in India? So what is basically the way how federalism is practiced? So federalism in India works not only because of the constitutional rules, but mainly due to the democratic political culture. It is majorly the culture that makes a country democratic. Whatsoever provision we add in the constitution or whatsoever law we basically make, that doesn't make a country a democratic country or a federal country, but the democratic political culture makes a country federal or democratic. All right, so that culture needs to be strengthened. Okay, then there will be no willingness in the hands of center to share the power with the state. There will be no federalism in practice in India. But when the center will be willing to actually share the power with the states, then only true nature of federalism can ever be realized in case of India. All right. So the first thing is, what is the role of the democratic politics in India? So basically in India, so
Sir,
federalism,
can you please repeat, sir?
yeah. So which one? Which point?
Federalism in India.
Okay, okay. Yes, yes. Definitely I can repeat. How is your health now?
Okay, sir.
Your health was not right or Praharsha's?
I think Prahesh, yes, sir.
Oh, yes, yes. Praharsha, how are you now?
So I'm fine, sir. Thanks.
Okay, nice. So, what I told you is, see, what happens now? Now, for example, if there are multiple, even if there are multiple provisions with relates to elections in the country, okay, but the people don't want to cast their vote, then what will happen? Even if you make basically five-star hotel facilities in the polling booth, there you provide lunch, dinner to the people who come to cast their vote. But what if people are not from inside willing to cast their vote? Then what will happen? The democratic practice of election will not be successful in that case. That means democracy, whether it will be successful or not, depends completely on the willingness and the culture of the people. If people trust in the democratic processes, if people has a trust, if people has a willingness, then only the democratic practices in the country will survive. Now the same way, this applies to this thing also. If the center wants to share power with the state, then only federalism will be successful in our country. If for example the center don't want or is not at all willing that the power must be shared with the state, then there will be no true federalism in practice in country. Getting the point? To make a country truly federal, there needs to be on ground actual division of power. Getting the point?
Yes, sir. Got
Are
it,
you
sir.
able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
that means if, for example, there is, I would say, let's say there is a GST council, okay, and major GST related matters are dealt by the GST council only. Now, for example, if the central government is literally not at all willing to give the taxation rights to the state, then in that case there will be clash. Often there will be clash, and true federalism, true division of power will never be able to sustain in the country. So that means for a true federalism to exist, there must be first a culture, a democratic culture, a federal culture. All right. So culture is the most and the major constituent thing that must be there. All right. Yeah. So linguistic states. So what happens? Creation of the linguistic states. So this was the first major test of Indian federalism. So you know this very well that federalism means division of power between the center and the states. On one side, after 1947, the states were demanding the creation of their states on linguistic lines. They wanted the creation of the states on linguistic principle. They wanted that their states must be organized on the basis of one language, one state. Okay, that was basically their wish. Now what happened after independence, or at the time of independence, we just witnessed one thing. We saw the partition of the country. Now partition of the country was also on the basis of a value, of a sentiment, that was a religion. Now this language is often also associated with certain values or sentiments only. All right. Now there was a fear in the minds of the leaders that once the country got divided on the basis of a sentiment, that is basically religion. Now if we create the states on the basis of one language, one state, it may further lead to more secessionist movements and basically disintegration of India. So this was the first major test, whether the central government will be willing or will be sharing the power with the states or not. Whether the center will share the power with the state or not, that was the first major test of the democratic or the federal process of India. We shared, center after the recommendations of the State Reorganization Commission, which was given in 1955, it passed an act called as State Reorganization Act. Now, by the State Reorganization Act, language as a formula for dividing state, not only language, other factors were also there. But still, language was accepted as a formula to divide the states. All right. By the virtue of which the states were divided, okay, the states were divided on the basis of language, and that basically proved to be a very successful experiment in case of India. That actually strengthened the unity of the country. All right. Yeah. So not all states were on the principle of language. Certain states were also on different principles. So those certain states are basically different. Okay. Now language policy. So this was another test for the democratic process of our country. Now what was happening was, in India there were certain demands. In India, the first demand was from majorly from the North Indian states, and the North Indian states basically demanded that Hindi must be accepted because it is spoken by more than 40% of the total population of the country. It must be accepted as national language. But there was very strange opposition from the South Indian states. Those South Indian states were anti-Hindi. They did not wanted the imposition of Hindi on the South India, okay, or basically on the entire country. They were majorly anti-Hindi, okay. So that movement basically started, anti-Hindi movement, majorly in Tamil Nadu. These movements started, and the result of these movements was basically that Hindi was not recognized as the national language of the country. Uh, Even like around 50% people speaks this language. Still, this language was not recognized as the national language. But in turn, there are 22 languages that are official languages of the country mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, and those languages are the responsibility of the government to be promoted. All right. So that is the main reason why we did not accepted only a single language, but multiple languages were accepted to be as the language of the country. Okay, official language of the country. All right. So use of English was, as per the constitution, was to be stopped after 1965. So 1965 was taken as a year when the use of English was to be stopped. But ultimately, due to the opposition that was given by the South Indian state, the use of English uh, in the official work of the basically interstate communication, state to center communication. So in those matters, English still stands to be very much important. So it continued even after 1965 because of the opposition that was basically given by the South Indian states. All right. This shows the flexibility of the center. Okay, now talking about the center state relations. So how are the center state relations? So what happens, we have talked about the dominance of the Indian National Congress for initial elections in the country. Okay, even the central elections and the state elections. So we know that for a very long time the center, at the center also and in the states also, the Congress party was ruling. Okay, but what was happening was that the Congress party was basically at the center also, and the Congress party was at the states also. So what was happening was that the center was not giving autonomy to the states. The states were not having much power to make their decisions. All right. So that was the main point of basically clash. The states were not given autonomy. Okay. After 1960s, what happened? After 1960s also, there was different government, because we saw that after 1967 there were regional movements, rise of regional political parties, and there were non-Congress parties at the state level, but still the Congress at the center. Because the Congress was at the center, still it did not give the regional autonomy to the states. Okay, still the major decision was taken by the center only, and states were not given autonomy. After 1990s, what happened? After 1990s, at the center there was no single majority party in Lok Sabha, but there was a coalition government. It was an era of coalition government, and in that era of coalition government, the at the center in the Lok Sabha, the government was formed by the Congress party, including many other regional parties. After that, when the Congress started getting the association of the regional parties in turn to form the government, the center started listening to the grievances of the states. The center started accommodating the grievances of the states in turn to form the government, because they wanted the support of those regional parties. The era, I would say, of a there is a term that is basically used, uh, a coalition politics started. Okay, and in that coalition politics, I would say the grievances of the states started getting addressed. Okay, so there these, yeah, coalition government. So beginning of the coalition government, all right. So that's the thing. Now, what is the present situation? Present situation is that federalism in India has become very strong. All right, federalism in India is very strong. Linguistic accommodation is there, language policy is flexible, coalition government politics is there, judicial protection of the state power is also there. Okay, now talking about decentralization. What is the meaning of decentralization? Now you just heard about what is federalism. Now talking about what is decentralization. Now federalism is basically simply division of power. Federalism simply stands for division of power between the center and its constituent units. Okay. There was earlier also the institution existing in India of the rural government. In India, it is an ancient institution. The panchayats is an ancient institution, evidences of which we can find in the ancient scriptures also. Even in medieval time, there used to be several types of panchayats at the rural level. Okay, so because ultimately the entire country was a agricultural based country, the main base of India was agricultural. So that's why majority of the decisions at the local level were taken by the panchayats only. Okay, since the time immemorial. All right. So Rajiv Gandhi government thought it important to give constitutional status to the local government. They brought the act, that is basically the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. They amended the Constitution of India and provided constitutional status to the local government at the rural area, that is PRI, Panchayati Raj institution, and at the urban level, that is ULB, urban local bodies. All right, that is municipalities somewhere and somewhere municipal corporations. All right. So now talking about this, then what does decentralization word exactly stands for? So decentralization means taking away power from the national government and the state government, from the central government and the state government, and then giving it to the local government. Again telling you, taking power from the central and the state government and giving it to the local government, that is what we call decentralization. All right, this is decentralization. And now talking about this, in India, what happened? Decentralization is a major means of transferring the power from the center and the state and giving it to the local government. What is the need of decentralization? So Indian states had a very large population, area and diversity. So what happens? Let's say there is a very localized problem in your area. Let's say the sewer line is not working properly in your local area. Now, will you go to the state government for the maintenance and the work of the sewer line in your area? No, that's not at all the right thing to do, because the state or the central government will not be able to understand the local grievances of the people, that the people suffers in their localities. How to Acha, one question. Do you people got your test papers for writing the test?
No, sir.
No,
You
sir.
will you will get a test paper on this Saturday. Your test is scheduled. Just telling you the format of the test. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah. So the format of the test is that there are two sections in the test. The total time given for the entire test is 3 hours. Maximum marks are 100. Answer must be limited for section A to 150 words, and for section B it must be limited to 250 words. Okay. In section A there are 10 questions, in section B there are 5 questions, in total there are 15 questions. Okay. The 10 question, each question is of 5 mark, and for section B each question is of 10 mark. All right. So this is from the PDFs of diversity, equality, right, gender, marginalization. Okay, so and even initial, I think initial 5 PPTs are 5 PDF or PPT whatsoever be. So from those initial 5 or 8, I think 8. Please do 8 PPTs. Okay, so prepare those 8. So from those PPTs, I have made this test paper. Okay, and you will have to write it, and you will get a timeline also. Within the timeline, you'll have to submit those answers. Okay, so that is, I think the timeline will be before Sunday. So before Sunday or Monday, I don't remember exactly. So before that time, you'll have to send the answers to me. All right. So good luck for the test. Write it. Okay, so write it well. I want structured answers. It must start with an introduction. There must be main body content, and there it must be concluded by a conclusion, short conclusion. All right. The answer must be, the main body must be in points format. And also what you will have to do is, you will have to basically make some short diagram also somewhere wherever it is required. You can make some parametrical like structure. Okay, so some short flow chart or something can be used. Okay, as I used in the PPTs, initial PPTs. Okay, yeah. So any doubt, Praharsha? You unmuted yourself.
So we received only 3 PPTs through mail and on the portal.
You just received 3 PPTs. How is that possible? Let me
Yes,
just
sir.
see how many are uploaded. Because yesterday only I got a mail to upload. Your batches are, any one of you, I'm just naming some batches. Just tell me whether any one of you are not in these batches. Udan 2026, EB11, EB12, EB13, EB14, and EB15. Any one of you are outside these batches from 11 to 15?
No, sir.
You people are from these batches only, right? So I got the mail to upload these to the. I'll just check. Okay, I'll just check. Have you already checked your portal? That e-learning portal?
Yes, sir. There is a new section introduced, but there's only 3 PPTs there. And the third one is this on
I
diversity.
don't know exactly about the portal because I haven't seen that portal, but I have heard that there is one section of class test at the bottom of when you will log into your portal. There is one section of class test, and below that class test, there is a section of notes, I think. And in that section, notes, you will get those PPTs.
Yes, sir. Like I could share my screen if that's.
If you can, please do.
I think you. I think only one person can share this.
Can you now share?
No, sir. The
Okay,
option is there. But I can't.
I think the portal do not allows this thing to happen. Okay,
Or maybe because your share is because your screen is sharing it. It is not allowed.
I'm just asking. Okay. I will ask. I will ask. I will go downstairs on this floor only. The people are there. I'll ask the admin team. Okay. To basically just have a look at this. You also mail. You also mail. Drop a mail about this. Okay. Uh, so we'll do something. Okay. Today only you will get that. Today only you will get. Don't worry. Okay. So now coming on to next. Yeah, so the test will be there, and do prepare well for the test. Okay, do prepare well, don't leave anything. See, just giving you one strategy, like by leaving something you are missing out only, you will gain nothing. This is not a UPSC exam, this is not a boards exam, or this is not a semester exam where you can fail. Even if you will get, let's say, 10 marks out of 100, still you will learn. I will give you feedback on your test. So learning will happen. And see, one question is generally there in everyone's mind, that how to start. People are not, see, while writing the answers, while writing, doing answer writing, the biggest question that comes in front of the student is like how to start. See, there is no perfect answer. Many students I have seen are wasting their months without even starting answer writing. And the only reason behind why they are not starting their answer writing is basically because they are not able to start writing the answer. The initial introduction they are not able to frame. Just write. Whatever you know, just start writing. By time, with multiple answers, the quality of your answer will increase. But the question is just to start at least. When you will start, only then you will be able to improve on that. But even if you will not at all start writing the answer, how will you improve on your previous answers? That's a very important thing. So at least just start, please. Okay. So write something wherever the questions are there. Write. Okay, that's the only solution to basically get good marks. Okay, you have to write mains 20 question writing in 3 hours, and basically those bulky questions, those brain hacking questions, so those are the not simple questions. So but you will be able to write those difficult questions only when you will move from here to there. Okay, only when you will start writing the basic question. Some question you will find, oh ye to kuch bhi nahi, these are nothing, I know this already. But see, when you will start writing the basic things, then only you will be able to climb the ladder. Okay, so my advice will be to at least start. Okay, so now this decentralization will be doing in the next class. Until then, any doubt is there, please do ask me if there is any doubt, any problem. Tell me if any problem is there.
Sir, actually, can you give me MCQs for the test?
No, MCQs I will not provide as of now because
Because sir, I am not able to write in very fast speed.
no need. Even if you are not able to write in fast speed, write this paper in 10 hours. No problem in that. Write this
No,
paper
sir.
in 10 hours.
Actually, I am having disability in my spinal cord.
Okay. What you said?
Sir, disability in spinal cord.
Okay. So you will be getting that reservation,
Yes, sir. PWD.
PWD reservation. Then you do one thing. So I don't know exactly about this. So you will not be writing that mains answer.
Sir, yes, sir. I am also using a scribe in my semester exam.
So UPSC will also allow you the scribe.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's good. ठीक है फिर तो. Okay, I will provide one separate test for you. What is the name of your batch?
Sir, on EB11.
EB11. Just drop a mail. That email ID that I shared, na, just drop a mail on that email ID
Okay.
requesting for a MCQ test instead of subjective. Okay,
Oh,
I will check.
okay,
Okay?
sir.
All right. ठीक है. So we will be continuing in the next class. All right, from this topic, decentralization. Okay. Until then,
Thank you.
goodbye. Take care. Okay, bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Welcome.